So we will we'll do a short concentration for the garden and for, of course, for the mother, that the garden is growing and growing. Yeah.
Thank you everyone, and such a beautiful presence. And as you know, today is Mother's birthday, and happy birthday to you all. As you see here, the Mother's Flower Garden, all of you know about that, I think, and you have seen our garden. It's like now a child now, it's growing slowly. We don't know where it will go, but we know that we have faith on the Mother, and with her dream we proceed, and with her inspiration we proceed. And with us now the Narad, and also we have the architect who is following up the project, over team, Supriti Didi and Neil Bhaiya also with us, with their team members also there. And I like to give a small introduction about Narad. It may be not enough to speak about him. So Narad is highly regarded poet, writer, opera singer and horticulturist. His book include the Handbook on Plumeria Culture and the Handbook on Oleanders. He is also the author of the 10-volume series Inspiration from Savitri, Sri Aurobindo's magnum opus, and the longest epic poem written in English, well as the book Homage to the Service Tree. And he is the one in the past when he started when Mother was starting giving the significance to the flower, he was one also there, started in the Matra Mandir nursery. And flower used to go to the Mother, and Mother used to give the significance. He also played a key role. You see now the book there, and it is his contribution there, a great contribution behind all the names, whatever come from the Mother, putting the book with the pictures, collecting the pictures. And he's also with us now in the team, one of the strong member and inspiration and the guide with us from the beginning itself. As you know, we are doing the Divine Flower exhibition in the Savitri Bhavan. That time we are having the flower exhibition in the square hall. I don't know how many of you have been there that time. From there, this our seeds grow from there. Now we are here, a little baby plant you can say. So we started, and our inspiration came from him, and also the people those who are directly connected. And so we got this land, and 2022 we started working on this land. Now you can see on the land we have started planting on it. So let's hope, let's pray, and our prayer for this, for the week, you can say, for whole year, to manifest the Mother's Garden number 6, which we are dreaming to do that, and we hope that all of their blessings and your help and support behind we could manifest. Sure. Let's pray, let's concentrate on it, and give ourselves how much we can, whatever way, to the Mother's feet, to her. Let it bloom in her will, in her wish, in her grace. Thank you. Please, Narad, will you please carry on?
Thank you. Om, Om, Om. It should be a moment of gratitude to be a part of this garden, because the attempt has been made numerous times before in the Matrimandya Gardens nursery, in Matru Udyanam, the Lake Estate garden, to collect all the significances that could grow here, and now we have finally a place where it is possible. It is blossoming here. You can feel that vibration in the flowers and in the people. We do need your help. We need financial help to realize these 12 gardens. And Mother had told me for the Matrimandya Gardens, she said to me, I have chosen all the flowers. And so Mother gave us the key symbols for each of those gardens. They have not yet manifested, because I was told by one of the great yogis in the ashram, Aurobindo Basu, that the gardens were not yet ready to descend. And when they are ready to descend, it will be something miraculous. Mother wrote to me also that the gardens are as important as the Matrimandya. Imagine that. So very important. That will happen. But meanwhile, because the gardens only have so many flowers that can be represented, we have Mother's flower garden. And that, to me, is the garden that will manifest most of the significances Mother has given us. Now, my talk for today has to do with the secret of the flowers. And I'm going to share that secret with you as we go along. But I'll begin with 2 lines from Savitri. Alive and clad with trees and herbs and flowers, Earth's great brown body smiled towards the skies. The earth is smiling toward the skies with these flowers and herbs and trees. And they will be represented here in Mother's flower garden. We need help, of course. We need your help in planting, in watering, in all the duties that we have as horticulturists or devotees. So I ask you to please meet with Ravi and his team, and even if you can give 10 rupees or 50 rupees a month, think of this as a monthly contribution, because it will help us move the work forward much faster. Now we have some books on the flowers. This was the first book that was done. I started it in 1968 with my wife, Mary Helen, another lady, Mary Aldrich, and Richard Pearson. Richard and I would work in the ashram laboratory week after week on identifying the flowers properly by botanical name. And you will see from the flower packets that we have that these wonderful volunteers have done. They list the botanical name, but the key name is the flower message given by Mother. And when we asked Mother, could you give us a name for this book? She said, call it Flowers and Their Messages. There is a 2-volume book of Flowers and Their Significances, and now this book is being upgraded every year to include photographs of the flowers. And I suppose this will continue for as long as there are people to do it. But here you're going to see the flowers in their element. There will be plenty of shade because there are almost 50 trees named by Mother. The mango has 2 names. First of all, it is nature's hope for realization, the flower, and the fruit is divine knowledge. We have other plants also, such as the coleus, which is the flower, the leaf, strength in the vital. But the flower of the coleus is
aspiration for immortality.
The vital's possibility of perfection. These double names are very interesting for us because they hold also the secret, not only in the flower, but in the leaf. And so we have tulsi leaves and many other leaves that are sacred. So let's begin to look at what is this secret of the flowers. First of all, Mother gives us many clues because she speaks about how she has been able to name a flower, to give its true significance. Throughout this life of the earth, botanists have named flowers, first of all by their botanical name. So we had people like Brandis and Fairchild who would go from the Himalayas down to the point of India, and they would identify the flower by its family and then by its botanical name, genus, and species. And there are many wonderful stories of these explorers who would, first of all, go through great hardships to go through jungles, swamps, places filled with thorns and almost impassable. And they have given us monographs of different species from which we can understand the evolution of a species. So they have looked into the secrets of these flowers. But Mother has done something totally different. And that is the key to my talk today. It is a contact with the inner being of the flower. Everything in life is in vibration. All of us are vibrating, and all of us are changing. Every minute, our bodies are changing. How? Well, physically, we can see very clearly. The old skin comes off our arms. Our hairs are changing. And we know that Sri Aurobindo was a very dark Indian. And through the years, his body changed tremendously. And when our beloved Purani met him, he saw Sri Aurobindo almost white. He looked at his fingernails. He saw the change in his feet. And he said to Sri Aurobindo, "What has happened to you?" And Sri Aurobindo saw that Purani had a beard, and he said, "And what has happened to you?" And that was his only answer. So we see that change is happening. Mother has told us that the climate is changing around the world, that cold places are becoming slowly warmer, and very hot places are becoming slowly cooler. Now this may take a generation, but the divine has no sense of time that we have. But it is certainly changing, and we can see it even here, that we've had cooler temperatures in recent years than we have ever known in the ashram. But in Oroville, even cooler temperatures, because we have a green belt, which Mother was so key to have realized. And when I came to begin the work for the gardens in 1969, I would grow thousands and thousands of seedlings and give them to the Greenbelt people to start these great collections. And I would also go with the chief conservators of forests into the Western Ghats and collect native species and grow them and distribute them throughout Oroville. And when I go sometimes to the Greenbelt, they'll show me trees that are 50 to 70 feet high that I gave them in a little plastic bag. Everything is evolving. But we know that the plants also are evolving. And I have seen in my rather long life new flowers coming about that have never been known before. Even here in Mother's Flower Garden, we are getting plants from different countries. I have a friend, Mr. Haresh, in Madurai, who is trying to collect all the species from Madagascar, and we have one of them here. A beautiful double flower, beauty, huh?
Success in supramental work.
Yeah, success in supramental works. Imagine that. Success in supramental works. And I believe it's blooming now. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I'm quite sure it is, yeah. And if you hold that in your hand, you will feel something you've never felt before. Okay, what did Mother do? Well, I have to find that section here and tell you about some of the things that Mother has done for us. First of all, she told us that she began naming flowers because of the double flowers that had such marvelous fragrances. And that started her doing it. And every year we would send flowers to Mother, and she would name them. The way I did it was because I named more than 60 to 80 flowers from the Matrimandya nursery. But Tara was our intermediary. Tara, who has founded the Sri Aurobindo Delhi ashram, Tara Johar. And I would bring the flowers on my motorcycle that I shared with Michael Tate and put them in a plastic bag and then in a box so that no wind could touch them. I would bring them to Tara at the Samadhi, and Tara would take them up to Mother. And I would listen how Mother would exclaim about the beauty of these flowers. It was an experience for me that I will never forget. I remember one year, might have been 1972 or 73, no, 71 or 72, when I had so many friends giving me seeds from California, which is subtropical, not tropical, but it's on the edge at times of tropical plants. And I grew them here in the nursery, and decided we will take a small truckload to the Lal Bagh in Bangalore. And we did this, and I met Dr. Marigauda, who was the conservator of the Lal Bagh. And he was so moved that he gave us at least 12 hibiscus that we had never seen before. And these hibiscus were from Hawaii. And when Mother saw the first hibiscus, she exclaimed, "Superb, magnifique!" And she named them all for Oroville. Imagine that. Beauty of Oroville, realization of Oroville. And then one day she said to Tara and to us, we need to have a little wider significance for the world. And so she named them two names. She gave two names: Beauty of Oroville, Beauty of the New Creation. Realization of Oroville, realization of the new creation. So they all took on the name, the new creation as well. Extraordinary. How did Mother do it? And this is the secret of the flowers. We know in music that each note has a specific vibration. A, to which all orchestras tune, is 440 cycles per second. Now go to the next octave of A, the higher octave, and it's 880 cycles per second. Go down lower, and it's 220 cycles per second. So it is, in a way, mathematical. Mother also found the vibrations in the flowers. And she said, by an approximation, I was able to get the name, the message of that flower. And here is that secret, that each flower carries with it a specific vibration. If we can connect with that vibration, we will enter into that specific realm that the flower is expressing. All right. Joy of vegetal nature in answer to the new light. Would we not like to have that feeling, that expression in our life? We have to connect with that vibration. And Mother has given us the name. Generally, she named everything in French first. But very often, she named it in English. And I have the complete collection of all of Mother's handwriting for each flower. Very often in French and very often in English. Those that were given in French, Tara has translated into English. So we have all of those in English as well. As you go through the garden, and we will have a walk-through at 7 o'clock, what day? Monday, 7 o'clock in the morning, Monday here. And we will walk through the garden and experience the vibrations of these flowers. Now, you know, throughout the world, we've had people name flowers. Lady slipper orchid, woman's tongue tree. Terrible, terrible things. And then we have some flowers like bleeding heart, and there are 10 or 12 different flowers named bleeding heart. So how can we tell from the common name? We cannot. We have to go into a deep connection with the flower and allow it to speak to us. The flowers will speak to us, but they have a language of their own. And we have to learn that language, which is a message. Mother was very specific about the name for the book, Flowers and Their Messages. As we begin to learn these messages, and we must also learn the botanical name also, and I will tell you why. Because if we have a plant that is in a certain family, and we have members of that family, let's say a good botanical name, Kupfea miniata, or so many millions now. And I have to tell you this story of what is happening because of the computer age. Botanical gardens always dried the flowers and pressed them and put them in these huge, huge places that stored the flowers. So any botanist could go into Kew Gardens or the Missouri Botanical Gardens, two of the greatest collections in the world, and they could see the dried flower, see the botanical name, and study it more. But when the computer age began, they found that all of these flowers, many of them named incorrectly because one botanist in Brazil and another one in India gave the same name, or a different name to the same flower. And so through the extraordinary breakthrough in computer science, all of these great botanical gardens could commune with each other and learn the correct botanical name. And so a botanical name that was named first by a botanist is the one that is accepted in the world. The other name is a synonym. So we have a botanical name and a synonym. But then we have species, and we have hybrids, and we have varieties. It's a huge thing, but with computers today, it's nothing at all. In fact, we have different programs, apps on our phones that can immediately identify a flower. Imagine. What do we have to do? We have to go much, much deeper. We have to go into the essence of that flower, into its vibratory meaning. And there we will find something truly revelatory, that suddenly that vibration is awakened in us. And we know what realization is. We know what patience is. We know what power is. Now, of all the flowers that Mother named, the hibiscus stands first, and roses stand second. I believe there are 43 different hibiscus. Imagine that. And more coming every day in the world. We now see flowers that we had never seen before. And so it is difficult for us to attach a name to many of them unless we can have a direct connection with that flower. And I know some people who do. And they have named 5 or 6 new flowers. Now, it may be argued that only Mother can name a flower. Why are we here? It is we who have to learn these new names, these new flowers. And we can do it by that inner connection that is so, so important. We see a new flower and we ask its name. It will respond to us if we are sincere enough. It will answer us in its language, which we have to know also. You know, I feed the crows every morning, and I see how different they are. And then I come across a writing by Sri Aurobindo, in which he says the crow is very beautiful, and it has violet colors and ultramarine colors in its feathers. And I look at these fellows, and they're all different. One of them flies up to take the food from my hand. Another opens its beak and waits for the food to drop into it. And with the flowers, we have a world of experience to explore. I remember when I was 4 or 5 years old that I first had this inner contact with the flowers. Now, I didn't have a developed mind as yet, but I walked down from the house into my mother's garden, and I saw these beautiful hydrangeas. And they were so magnificent. Purple, white, and pink. and I plucked every one, ruining my mother's garden. And I brought them to her, and she wept. She wept because her garden was ruined, and she wept because her son brought her flowers. And hydrangea.
Collective harmony.
Hmm?
Collective harmony.
Collective harmony. Imagine that. I touched collective harmony. And I will always remember the beauty of that flower. We cannot grow it yet here because the climate is too hot. But I have seen it grown in the Matrimandir already. I have seen a few flowers, and we are breaking the bounds of that flower. So it is adapting to a new climate. Oh, it loved the cold, it loved freezing weather, and it loved to bloom just after a freeze. And now I see it blooming in the Matrimandir. Okay, it's only a beginning, but it's a tremendous breakthrough, really. And we have a man in the, no, he doesn't do the gardens, but he's doing the garden of the unexpected. And he can grow anything. And he can root anything. His name is Kartik. And I appreciate him so very much. He's a great horticulturist. And he has the ability to inspire people to bring him new plants. And they will bring him bulbs and seeds. And he can grow anything. I tell you, he's amazing. And we have Rabi here, who also has that capacity. Bring him a cutting, and he will root it. So this touch, this inner touch with plants, is so very important. And more people are going to develop this capacity because the plants speak to them. I see my time is getting short, so if you have any questions, please ask and I'll do my best to answer them. Oh, a big round. Yes.
Do the plants have their own language and name between each other?
Yes, they have their own language, but the names can only be revealed by the way Mother did it. I could read that to you if you'd like, how she's done it. Could you find it quickly? We don't have that capacity yet, but certainly we can create an alliance with the flower. For example, I would ask all of you to find a flower that speaks to you and make it your flower and connect with it in a deeper way. The most important thing is for us is always to remember beauty. That everything we touch, every thought we have should be informed with beauty. And Mother speaks to us so much about beauty. Beauty of the thought, beauty of the action. And yes, you got it. Where is it?
I think this is the
Here.
exact
Okay.
answer, but you can start from here.
Okay. First of all, we ask Mother, and I would send many questions to Mother also, and she would answer us. How can flowers help us in our life and in our yoga. Whoa. First, Mother says, flowers teach us the charm of silence and also the self-giving that demands nothing in exchange. This is one thing we find with flowers. I can tell you that the flowers can be sad. They can tell us when they want water. And yet they are so resilient. I have seen endurance, the zinnia, famous flower, we all know zinnias, blooming in the desert for 4 months without water. That's endurance. Love of flowers is a valuable help for finding and uniting with the psychic. Love of flowers is a valuable help for finding and uniting with the psychic. Now, one of our students, disciples, devotees has written to Mother. Love of flowers is a valuable help for finding and uniting with the psychic. Could you explain this more in detail? Now, this is extremely important. Mother writes, since flowers are the manifestation of the psychic in the vegetal kingdom, and here I can share a brief story. One of our people who was deeply interested in the flowers wrote to Mother, Mother, there is no word called vegetal. It's vegetable. Mother said, look in the dictionary. Okay. Since flowers are the manifestation of the psychic in the vegetal kingdom, love of flowers would mean that one is drawn by the psychic vibration and consequently by the psychic in one's own self. Oh. When you are receptive to the psychic vibration, that puts you in a more intimate contact with the psychic in your own self. Perhaps the beauty of flowers, too, is a means used by nature to awaken in human beings the attraction for the psychic. Then we write to Mother, what is the best way of opening ourselves to the deep influence of flowers? And here is Mother's answer. It is to love them. If you can enter into psychic contact with them, that would be perfect. When one is in conscious contact with one's own psychic, one becomes aware of an impersonal psychic behind the whole creation. And then through this, one can enter into contact with flowers and know the psychic prayer they represent. We should read these things every day. And then someone asked the question, what is this impersonal psychic you spoke of? Mother writes, by impersonal psychic, I mean the psychic region, which does not belong to any individual in particular. The psychic region, which is in the creation, as air is in the earth's atmosphere. And then another question. We have flowers with such significances as greed for money, passion, vanity, chatter. How do these flowers represent a psychic prayer? Mother answers very simply. These flowers offer their bad vibrations for transformation. Extraordinary. And is there the same difference among plants and trees? No, that is like the difference among animals. Some are big, some are small. But everywhere it is like that. In minerals, in animals, in men. Each manifests its own nature, and these natures are innumerable. And this is part of the importance of the.
You're asking
Huh?
question, the answer is yes.
Okay, another. Mother, when flowers are brought to you, how do you give them a significance? Mother says, to the flowers? But it is in the same way, by entering into contact with the nature of the flower, its inner truth. Then one knows what it represents. Thank you, Rabbi. Very important. And then the person asks, each flower has its special significance, isn't it? Not as we understand it mentally. There is a mental projection when one gives a precise meaning to a flower. It may answer, vibrate to the touch of this projection, accept the meaning, but a flower has no equivalent of the mental consciousness. And that is why Mother had to touch the inner spirit of the flower, the secret of the flowers. Namaste. 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 Can we all chant Om to conclude our presentation today? Oh.